I've allowed recording for you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I've allowed recording for you, so you can.
That's all right. It's on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody. Sorry, I was a little bit late with my message for the with the link. I was caught up in another meeting. Right, we can start today. I have on my list Prema Vilasni Mataji reading Sanskrit and Saroj Mataji reading English.
Come on. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You're not reading English?
Okay.
Sure. You're not reading English? No.
Are you both ready?
Yes, Hare Krishna, I'm ready.
Okay, go for it. As soon as you're ready, you can go for it.
Yeah. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Udvam Hula
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Udvamula Madam Sakham Astam Samphyahuravayam Chandansi Yasya Paranani Yatsam Veda Savedavi Adasodam. Number 2. Yeah.
English first, yeah? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas."
Verse 2. Adaschodam prasuta tasya shakha guna pravudha visaya pravala adascha mulananusanthatani karmanubandhini manushaloke.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
Number 3 and 4. Na rupamasya tatho bhalabhyate nanto na chadi na cha sampradishta asvastamivam surujisu asvastamilam suvidodhamulam asangasastrena dadhena chitva tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prabhade yata pravruti prasuta purani.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and then surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began, and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Number 5. Nirman moha chita sangha dosa adhyatmanitya vinivruta kama tvamde vimoksa sukha dukha samne prachanti mudha padamavyayam tat.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
Number 7. Mamaivanso jivaloke जीवभूत सनातन
Sorry, Mataji, you mean please number 6? Number 6.
Number 6, sorry. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावक यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
Your supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
Number 7. ममैवांसो जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातन मनसस्त्राणीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
Number 8. Sariram yadvapnoti yechapya utkrama ishvara rasanam traname vacha adishaya yat sariram yadvapnoti yachapi ishvaram उत्क्रामिन्तं ईश्वर गृहीतैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वासयात्.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
Number 9. श्रोत्रं चक्षुः स्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राण एव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Number 10. उत्क्रामन्तं सिदं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
Number 11. यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मान्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति ते सः.
The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not yet developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
Number 12. यद् अधीत्यो गतं तेजो जगत भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विधिमामकम्.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me.
Number 13. गामावेश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वा लोको भूत्वा रसात्मकः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
Number 14. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम्.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff.
Number 15. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto mata smritirajnanamapohanam cha vedaisya sarvairahmeva vedyo vedanta krudveda videv chaham.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Sorry, I'll start again. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
Number 16. Svavimau purusau loke kshara eva cha kshara sarvani bhutani kutasto kshara uchyate.
There are 2 classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
Number 17. Uttama purusatvanyaha paramatma udahata yo lokatrayam avyasya vibhati avya ishvara.
Besides these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them.
Number 18. Yasmakshara api chodoham aksara api chotama tatosmi loke vede cha pratitha purushottamaha.
Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person.
Number 19. Yo mam evam asammudho jhanati purushottama sa sarva vida bhajanti ma sarva bhavena bharata.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
Number 20. Iti guhyam tamam sastram idam yuktam maya nagha etad budhva budhimana syat krita krityasya bharata.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna.
Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Sastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Purushottam Yoga Nama Panchadaso Adhyaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prema Vilasni Mataji. It was very, very nice. The pronunciation was so nice. And Saroj Mataji, English was very nice and well paced. Really enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Stop that. So we'll go to today's verse, which is verse 5. We normally actually do the, we need the summary first on me. Yes, give me a second. Let me just share my PowerPoint and we can do the summary first. Okay, can you see the summary? Sorry, can you see the thing? Okay, let me see.
Yes, Babaji, we can. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So chapter 15, Purushottam Yoga, Yoga of the Supreme Person. Of course, this is the Purushottam month. So all of us are getting benefited spiritually thousands and thousands of times by reciting this wonderful chapter. This happens to be one of my favorite chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So Purushottam Yoga. We are just in summary, we are just in the first section, which is finishing with text 5 today. And that section covers the detachment from the material world. So we can quickly look at the first few texts that Divanam Prabhu and Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu have covered over the last few days. So the very first text talks about the analogy of the banyan tree. It says that the material world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It talks about the leaves being the Vedic hymns. And then text 2 gives a further analogy. It extends the analogy to say that this tree is nourished by the three modes of nature and also by the fruitive activities of the living beings. And then 3 and 4 talk about the fact that this real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world, and that we need to cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of what? Anybody tell me? The weapon of?
X.
Detachment.
Detachment.
X of detachment. Thank you. So this is where we are. Some solid instructions there. And now we're coming to text 5. So let me, how do I do this? I will. Okay, you should be able to see the base and the text there. So we'll recite the text again. It's a beautiful verse. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandver vimutta sukha dukha sangye gacchanta muda padamavyayam tat. Translation once again. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are free from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So perhaps somebody can just look at the names here. Ajay Mukund Prabhu is there. He's already unmuted. So Ajay Mukund Prabhu, you can proceed.
Okay. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride. Because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature, it is very difficult for him to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should know by cultivation of real knowledge that he is not Lord of material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in this material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. Pride is due to illusion, for although one comes here, stays for a brief time, and then goes away, he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. He thus makes all things complicated, and he is always in trouble. The whole world moves under his impression. The whole world moves under this impression. People are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the proprietors. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of this world. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free from all the false association caused by familial, social, and national affections. These faulty associations bind one to this material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is actually not his own. And one has to, and when one has an understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from all dual conceptions, such as happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you, Ajay Mukund Prabhu. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Papitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swaminiti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashati Vishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So back to the presentation. So we've just read the verse. Just a couple of things in terms of the Sanskrit here. I think a few days ago I was saying that here, see, we have this dot under the H here, right? We got Kama, and we could also have the Mukta. So both of them actually are also the same dot. The general rule that Acharyas explained is that when we recite it, we normally double sound it, don't we? So when normally we say Adya, Adyatma Nitya Vinivita Kamaha. So the aha will be like Kamaha, like a double sound of H. But when that dot, the dot appears in the middle of a sentence, then we don't make a double sound. Then we just make a mukta, like a sound a little H, but half, not double. So Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivita Kamaha Dvandve Vimukta Sukha Dukha Samge Gacchantya Muda Padamavyayam Tat. See, so Mukta, Muda. But if that Muda was at the end, we would say Mudaha and say Muktaha if it was at the end of the sentence. So this is what is interesting to learn about pronunciation. Yeah, I think the rest of it is quite straightforward. So this beautiful verse is about surrender. It's, in one sense, it's about the eligibility of entering the Supreme Abode. The Lord has described how this material world is an invert, is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, and our home is the spiritual world, not this place here. But to enter to that world, we had all those descriptions about how we must not be illusioned, we must be free from all karma, we must understand fully how to surrender, and all those criteria. So looking at it, one would think that, wow, it's a very, very high bar. How can I ever achieve it? Seems really, really, really a tall order. But then Prabhupada says that actually all that can be achieved very simply by surrender, by devotional service and surrender. And in this verse, it gives us 6 beautiful points of how to achieve that surrender, right? So the first one, he says, we have to, in the verse, this is actually Krishna saying this, and Prabhupada then gives us the explanation. So Krishna says, we need to be free from false prestige. Second, we need to be free from illusion. Third, we have to be free from false association. We need to understand the eternal. We need to be free from dualities. And we have to be done with material lust and be unbewildered. So these are the 6 that we will try and cover over the next 20 minutes or so and discuss those. So the very first one is we have to be free from false prestige or pride. So here in this caption here, it's too small to read perhaps, I'll show it again. It says, pride brings false independence and fails one to take shelter of Lord Krishna. So when one is proud, it is going to be impossible for him to surrender to anybody. So they always think, I am right, I am the greatest, I know the best. So those kind of people, they find it very difficult. And those kind of people you will find sometimes, if you say in the class, they're the ones who will ask challenging questions without any humility, because they're so proud about their knowledge. They will say, I know this, and what you are saying is wrong, kind of thing. Instead of giving you a chance to explain, they will just sort of be very abrupt like that. So this is pride. This is what it does to you. It actually creates a barrier in your mind, so you will not absorb anything spiritual or anything that you feel that doesn't agree with what you believe. So this is the kind of pride, right? So pride is the main quality of one with demoniac nature. So when somebody has got a bad nature, demoniac nature, then pride is their pride. That's where it starts. His first bad quality is pride. And there's the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Anybody know what is the 16th chapter entitled? The divine and the demoniac.
Exactly.
Divine and demoniac.
Yes.
Sorry, I got in just before you. Divine and the demoniac. So this chapter is beautiful. In the first 3 verses, which are all combined, it talks about the qualities of the divine. And then the rest of the chapter, it just talks about the qualities of the demoniac. And text 4, which starts speaking about this, is a beautiful verse. Dambodarpo bimanasya krodha parushamevacha agyanam cha bijatasya partha sampadam asurim. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature or Sanapritha. So you see, pride, everything starts with pride. Once you have pride, of course, pride brings arrogance and conceit. Then when things don't go your way, it brings anger, and then you speak harshly to people. And then because you got pride, you're not letting any knowledge get into you, any spiritual knowledge. And that brings about ignorance. So this is like a slippery slope for the demoniac people. So, of course, the teaching that we have from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srishtastakam text 3, I'm sure everybody knows it. Who is the first one to recite it?
I can do, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, please. Is it Rupa Mataji, is it?
No, this is Mamta.
Oh, sorry, Mamta Mataji. Yes, go for it.
Oh, I mean, do it now?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't hear. I need the script. Can you share the screen maybe?
Namnakari Buhudani cha Sarvashakti Tatrapitanyam Smarnena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Idisham Echani Nanuragaha.
Vishali Mataji, that's very nice, but that is...
Thank you very much.
That
No,
is
it's not Shastakam. It is not Shikshashtakam.
No, it's not
Cheto
me.
Darpana. Cheto Darpana Marjana. That is
That is
Shikshashtakam.
first one. Second is Tarorapi Sunichena.
No,
First-
Prabhu, you're asking for Shikshashtakam, right?
Yes, Shikshashtakam takes 3.
Yeah, it's Tarorapi Sunichena.
I thought I did the preferred one.
तरोरपि सहिष्णुना
Jana
अमानेन मानदेन
Amanidena
कीर्तनीय सदा हरि.
Absolutely, that's the one. Text 8 starts with Tinadapi. So
Sorry.
one must chant the holy name in a humble state of mind. One must consider oneself lower than the blade of grass, or they say straw on the street. One must be more tolerant than a tree, and one must be ready to offer all respects to others without expecting any respect for oneself. And in that state of mind, one can constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. So this is the antidote. We've been taught. If we all have, of course, we've all been conditioned for many, many lifetimes. So we all have some amount of pride. But for us to now become prideless, this is the formula. We need to read this verse, wear it around our necks, and the next time pride starts to creep in, remember this verse and recite it to ourselves and practice it. Of course, it happens with a lot of practice, but this is what we need to do. So pride creeps in also in the devotional life. Devotional life, we feel that, okay, now we are devotees, so we are moving away from pride. But amazing thing is, pride, the quality of pride, which is so strong in our nature, that even within devotional life, it comes in. Here, Prabhupada is saying, unnecessary pride is very bad, Prabhupada says. Oh, I've become very advanced in Krishna consciousness. That we should never think. So you see, even in devotional life, one can get pride. Oh, I'm now very learned. Oh, I can give classes. So I'm an advanced devotee. That is very dangerous also for devotional life, because that will be our fall down. One must always be humble, as we read just now in the Shikshashtakam. Always be humble. And this was exemplified by all our acharyas. When you look at a lot of the bhajans that acharyas sing, my goodness, they call themselves the lowest of the low, the lowest of the low. And this is the symptom of an uttamadhikari. An uttamadhikari is a topmost devotee. But he doesn't pretend. He doesn't actually say, no, sometimes people will say to us, oh, Prabhuji, you're doing so well. And then we will just be humble and we say, no, Prabhu, I'm still learning. I'm making so many mistakes. So, but that sometimes is artificial. But these acharyas, they are not doing anything artificial. They genuinely feel that everybody else is a devotee and I'm not. And they feel so humble, like that way naturally they feel humble. So this is the mood we need to develop. Then continuing on the same one, the conditioned soul is puffed up. Prabhupada says, thinks himself to be the Lord, always expecting some honor. This makes it difficult for him to surrender. So as we were saying, that when we are puffed up, we can't surrender to anybody. The solution is to cultivate knowledge, to know that I am not the Lord, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Lord. Freedom from pride begins the process of surrender. So pride, as I was saying, it comes also in a devotional life and also in demigods. We know we have many, many instances about the pride of Indra, but the one very, very famous incident. And can you tell me what incident this is depicting?
Govardhan Parvat.
Govardhan
Lila, exactly. So Indra, as we all know, we will not go into the story because everybody knows it, but he got very proud when Krishna convinced his father not to worship Indra. His pride got in the way, and he sent this Samantarka clouds, this terrifying clouds, to deluge Vrindavan. And then Krishna, of course, saved all the residents by lifting the Govardhan hill. And finally, Indra then comes down, and his pride is broken. So even demigods have got this tendency. Somebody is yawning loudly. Krishnavani Mataji, your microphone is on.
So sorry, Prabhu.
No problem. No problem. Now I know that my classes are so boring. Okay, next is.
No, it's not that, Prabhu.
I'm just kidding. I know my classes are boring, so anybody allowed to be honest. Okay. So freedom from illusion. This is the next part. Freedom. So illusion is the root cause of pride. We're proud. We are proud because we think we are something, when actually we are not. That is illusion. So illusion, Prabhupada says, illusion means one comes and goes from this world, but still thinks to be the Lord of the world. We are here. We've been here millions of times, and we've been gone from here millions of times. But the place has remained. Yet when we are here, we think, I am the Lord of everything. Thus, it makes things complicated and is always in trouble. So pride will always get you in trouble, for sure. The entire world is under this false impression, Prabhupada says, and have created divisions of false proprietorship by land, earth, etc. So there again, I'm always looking at chapter 5th canto, because we're learning it right now. The 5th canto, 5th verse, 5th chapter, 8th verse, talks about this kind of attachment that people bring because of this land, earth, etc., proprietorship. Pum shastriya mituni bhava metam tayor mito hridaya granthi maho ato griha kshetra sutapta vitte janasya moho yamaham mameti. The attraction between male and female is a basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. So everything begins from this attraction between male and female. Everything starts from there. Once you get married, once you get attracted, you want to get married. When you get married, you have children. You have children, then you need to provide for them. Then you need a house. Then you need a bigger house. So everything just is just rollerballs into big illusions. One illusion piled upon illusion. So this particular verse is Rishabdev's teaching to his sons. Then freedom from false association. So this is possible when one is free from false proprietorship. Prabhupada says that false associations are caused by familial, social, national affection. So again, a similar verse. This is from the 10th canto of your Bhagavatam, chapter 84, text 13. Again, very, very powerful verse. Prabhupada repeats this many times. Yasyatma buddhi gunapeti dhatuke swadi kalatradishu bhauma idyadi yatirtha buddhi shalilena kadhachij chaneshva bhigyeshu saeva gokara. Gokara is very blunt. Say one who identifies himself as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his, permanently his own. The word is permanently, right? He thinks this is it. Everything is mine forever, right? Who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birthplace is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. Go khara, go is cow, khara is ass. So yasatma buddhi kunape, kunape means actually a bag, literally it means a bag. So kunape, three dhatu is explained here as mucus, bile and air, kapha, vata and pitta. So this is what our body is. In that bag of mucus, bile and air, we identify with that. We identify that as ourselves. Swadhi. So Swadhi kalatra adishu. Kalatra means wife. Adishu means wife, etc. Bhauma, that means our country, our land. Ijya, that means Ijyadi, that means it's worshipable. Yatirtha buddhi shalile, which means that when people go to the holy dhams, they will just take a bath and that's it, that's done. They will take a bath and come back and that is it, their visit is finished. But here it says, Nakarhechi Janeshwa Abhigneshu, which means they never ever bother to speak to the devotees there. When we go to the dham, the purpose is to associate with the local devotees, associate with the sadhus and learn from them. Not just take a bath and come back. Yes, there is some benefit, of course, by doing that, but not as much as associating and taking instructions, learning from the sadhus. So this is the condition of us. These kind of associations they take so seriously in the material world. Then to understand the eternal. So once you develop spiritual knowledge, very, very important. Text 4.9 talks about spiritual knowledge. Anybody know this verse? This verse used to be the favorite verse for Mother Kalangna.
Janma karma charme divyam.
Yes, very, very good. Rajshri Mataji, excellent. Janma karma chame divyam evam yuveti tattva tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mameti sorjuna. So, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but he attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So this is it. All we need to do is to understand Krishna. If you know about Krishna's appearance and his pastimes, and you understand them as they are, that's it. You have made your way back to the spiritual world. So easy, right? So this knowledge we need to develop, because with this knowledge, we're then able to then surrender. Because once we have this knowledge, it makes it easier for us to surrender. Because we know Krishna's appearance. We know that Krishna is not a normal human being, or not even an extraordinary human being. He is God. He is a supreme personality of Godhead. And you, by studying his activities, that knowledge, that belief becomes solidified in us. And that way it creates the love for Krishna, that creates the longing to go back to Krishna, which is our real home. So cultivate the knowledge, cultivation of this knowledge, cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is not. So the Upanishads, text 1. Anybody know this text 1? Isha vasha sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita magridda kashasvit dhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. One should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So Prabhupada is saying, cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is not. So what is our own? Actually, nothing. Everything belongs to the Lord. Here it says, everything is owned and controlled by the Lord. So we know that nothing belongs to me. Everything here has been granted to me by the Lord. So I am a temporary custodian of whatever I have, whether it's my body, whether it's my family, or whether it's my property, or whether it's my money. Nothing belongs to us. So only thing that belongs to us right now is our time, which we can utilize, which we have the free will to utilize in the right way. Then understand the eternal leads. So understanding the eternal leads to freedom from duality. So duality is explained in the 7th chapter we did not so long ago. Ichadvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Sorry, there is not H there, sorry, parantapa. O sign of Bharat, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. So the purport of that text, Srila Prabhupada says, the real constitutional position of a living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from his pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by the illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in the dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain. So these kind of dualities are what we are living with constantly. But we need to get free from this duality, because once you transcend the three modes of nature, you realize that there is nothing, because in the spiritual world there are no dualities. Everything is absolute. So once we transcend the three modes of nature, we are also placed on an absolute platform, and we are above. We get freedom from these dualities. And then the sixth one, we need to be done with the material lust, and we need to be unbewildered. So lust, of course, is in a broader sense about our greed. That can be also lust, for being greedy for different things. So 337 explains about kama, lust. Shri Bhagavan uvacha kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava mahashanno mahapapma vidyenam iha vaininam. The Supreme Personality of God has said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. So we need to be done of this material lust, Prabhupada is saying. And in that purport, Prabhupada is saying, this material creation is created by the Lord to give facility to the conditioned souls to fulfill their lustful propensities. And when completely baffled by prolonged lustful activities, the living entities begin to inquire about their real position. So we are all here, dear devotees, we are all here in the material world because at one point we decided to enjoy separately from Krishna. That is lust. We wanted to enjoy things ourselves. And we're all down here. So the material world is created for that. But then, after trying to enjoy the material world for so long, one finally comes to the conclusion that there is no happiness here. Whatever I try, I may have a momentary happiness, but again, I'm down in a cycle of miseries. This world is full of miseries. The 8th chapter confirms that. So once he gets to that position, then he starts to inquire about his real position. And then his search for the spiritual truth starts, and then his surrender begins. So detachment and surrender follows detachment and then surrender, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually this was not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this verse was composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in glorification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhya Lila. Soon after, as we all know, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was an impersonalist, but after he accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, he compiled a set of verses, I think it was 100 verses, and this is one of them, one of the most famous ones. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksha Tameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jairadhari Kripam Buddhayastamaham Prapatye let me take the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, who is descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge. So, teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He is descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. So, he is descended to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service, meaning Krishna's devotional service, and detachment from whatever that does not foster. So whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness, we need to give up. Be detached. That doesn't mean that we abdicate our responsibilities. We do perform our responsibilities. We look after our family, children, whatever we need to do. But internally, we need to remain detached. And finally, is 714, talking about how to surrender. Daivi, talking about what happens when we surrender. Daivi hesha guna mayi mama maya duratyaya mame vaya papadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me easily cross beyond it. So, sorry, I went a little bit over time, but it is such a relishable verse. This one, we could speak about this for 2-3 days. Really, so much to speak about. We could. I was going to also include Rupa Goswami's process of surrender, but that would have taken us well over. But maybe some other time. But we'll end here. Thank you so much, devotees. We open up for realizations, questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Divya Gauragi Mataji.
Thank you so much for a really nice class. Today I was listening to one Bhagavatam class of Sutapa Prabhu, and it said in it that from the first canto that the qualification to understand Bhagavatam is surrender and desperation. And today you have explained the surrender in detail. That is so amazing. I mean, I could understand properly. So from Bhagavad Gita, we understand Bhagavatam, from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So thank you for that. It's very apt.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very. Thank you for the contribution. Divya Gaurangi Mataji is actually tuning in from Qatar. I didn't know until today. That's amazing. In Qatar? Oh, that's great. Okay. So I'm just looking at some chat messages. Sorry for my, this is from, I don't know, this is Mamta Mataji saying sorry for my ignorance. I'm sorry.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I didn't hear the question properly, so I jumped in. So I'm very sorry for that.
No, please don't worry, Mamta Mataji. You know, a lot of people complain sometimes when I get excited, I speak too fast. So probably not your fault. It was me speaking fast.
No, that's your kindness, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Sorry. And then, okay, Jyoti Mataji is saying, no, Prabhuji, your classes are not boring at all. They are very, very enlightening for us. Prabhuji, we are blessed to have your time. I'm very blessed to have your association. At least I have a chance to speak about Krishna and time, purify my time. Thank you so much, Jyoti Mataji. Then Prabhuji, your class, oh my God, I started a whole wave here. Varsha Mataji is saying, Prabhuji, your classes are not boring. They are very enlightening. Thank you so much. Thank you again. Thank you for your compliment, Varsha Mataji. And Krishnavani Mataji is saying, I agree with Mataji. It's not you, Prabhuji. It's me, forgotten to mute. I'm sorry. No, don't worry, Krishna. I was just messing around, was pulling your leg, Krishnavani Mataji. I know that you wake up very early in the morning and you have so much service to do. So please forgive me for joking with you. Bhagavati Mataji, enlightening class, thank you so much. Thank you, Mataji. And then Jyoti Mataji is saying, nice and clear. Probably that's a clear thank you.
Purport, Prabhupada says pride is due to illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please expand on that a little bit?
Yes, exactly. Pride is illusion. Illusion is, first of all, the first kind of illusion is thinking that I am this body. That is our first illusion. So then expanding from there, what happens is everything that belongs to this body is also me, also mine and me. So my and me. So we start thinking in this illusory way of my and mine. And because of that illusion, pride creeps in. Because when after you think this is all mine, you get something, you become pride. Okay, now I've got some money, so I'm proud of my money. So you don't, because you have not got the ignorance, because the illusion, you don't have the understanding that whatever I'm getting here is a mercy of the Lord. It's nothing to do with me. You know, we have examples of somebody working hard day and night, and yet they are just barely able to just, keep the family fed. And yet somebody else who plays golf half the day and just does something very little, he starts to make millions. So you realize that whatever success or whatever possessions we have is because of the Lord's mercy and because of our previous good karma, perhaps. Not because there's nothing to be proud of. So this is it. So this is how pride creeps in, because of that kind of illusion.
So like in devotional service, I mean, between devotees, there is competition as well, many a times.
Yes.
Who does the best?
Yes. So Prabhupada used to say that healthy competition between devotees is good. Healthy competition is good. If we are doing book distribution and you're competing with each other to try and do more books, yes, that's healthy. But people know the subtle difference, right, between healthy and unhealthy competition. Unhealthy competition is when you're envious of somebody, right? Healthy competition is that I am trying to do as much as I can to distribute the books, but then I know that Hema Mataji is doing 15, 19, 18, 19. Then I am very proud. I'm really happy that Hema Mataji is doing that, right? I'm not envious. I'm not envious. So that competition is healthy.
Yes. That we should learn from her, actually, how to do it.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Joli Mataji.
I guess what your answer would be, I want to thank you for your wonderful class, and I appreciate how blessed you are with your high level of humility. I know you're going to turn it down, but no, you are a very humble person. I really appreciate it. Thank you. We're learning from you lots and lots.
Joli Mataji, whatever I'm saying is nothing from me. It's something that I've read from Srila Prabhupada, or my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, or something I've heard from other lectures. So it's nothing for me to be proud of. It's something that I just put together and presented it to you. That's all. It's not all that knowledge that